Well, hi everyone. I'm John Retland, and this is my review of NWA Powerrr episode 20. And we are getting closer to the Crockett Cup, but we're about 6 weeks away, and they only have one other episode of NWA Powerrr that they're labeling Super Powerrr. It's going to be happening in a couple weeks. And then other than that, they're just going to be doing, other programming to really hype up the Crockett Cup, which I'm very, very excited for. It's going to be a great pay-per-view. If it's anything like last year's edition, I'm really going to be happy that I watched it. And I hope you guys are going to watch it too, because I really do like these NWA pay-per-views. They do deliver a lot of really good moments. I mean, hey, Thunder Rosa versus Allison Kay happened at Hard Times, and that's one of my favorite matches of the year. So you never know what you're going to see on an NWA show. As for tonight's show, you had 2 championship matches and 1 tag match with a particular stipulation. So how was the show overall? Let's find out. Recaps of last week's events, mainly with the women, Camille versus Thunder Rosa at some point. Yes, please, would sure love to see that. Sean Mooney welcoming us, running down the card. Sean Mooney, great wrestling personality. Really has that cool, sports feel to him, presents it like a sport, and it's absolutely great. We start off with outlandish Zicky Dice versus Ricky Starks for the TV championship, and Dice wanting to get at this championship, feeling that he'd been wronged by the NWA, and how would this one go? Well, it had some good back and forth. Zicky Dice would focus on the back, working on the back midsection in a ring post spot. Pretty cool stuff. Starks would come back, almost gain the victory. He did hit a nice Falcon Arrow. He tried for the stroke, but that didn't work. Dice had earlier tried his finish. That did not work. So as Starks was going for the stroke, he goes over, and then Dice just sits on him, gets a roll up, 1, 2, 3. So suddenly he gets the victory, and holy crap, we have a new TV champion. So suddenly the lucky 7 rule, where you got to defend the title successfully 7 times, is gone because Starks lost. So now, can Zicky Dice successfully defend it 7 times? Who knows? It would be pretty interesting because, hey, as a heel champion, he could do pretty damn well, but Starks is obviously set for bigger and better things. He did well as the first of this era in the NWA as TV champion, even though he only held it for a bit. I can't wait to see what else he does. Maybe he challenges Aaron Stevens and beats him for the NWA National Championship at the pay-per-view. So, Zicky Dice's promo gets interrupted by Thomas Latimer. Latimer's yelling at Joe Galli to come over there and says, oh, hey, by the way, next week, Camille's going to speak. Okay, cool. And then he, threatens to almost beat the shit out of Joe Galli. I love Joe Galli, by the way, but he plays his role really well. Really, really great sportscaster. He's really, really good at presenting it like a sport as well. And then we get Sean Mooney talking about tickets going fast for the Crockett Cup, and they have a couple NWA Powerrr tapings happening right after that at the studios. I think it's the next 2 days after that, the 20th and the 21st. Now we have a press conference with Skrull and Aldis. Good hype. Really, really good stuff. They recount a little bit of what the NWA means to them, what this event's going to mean to them. Some really good stuff. We get the question mark and a puppet ad. I don't know why, but okay. And then Aaron Stevens in the question mark. And he mentions belts a lot. Mentions a lot of belts. Wanting all the belts. And draping his big black 3rd degree belt all over everything. That's what he was doing because, phallic references. That's what it is. And he says he wants to challenge a couple legends and be in the the Crockett Cup tournament, the tag tournament. And here's Rock and Roll Express. And he says, I won't waste your time. Lord knows, Lord knows you don't have much left. And of course, there's, a goofy joke in there. The Rock and Roll just trolling the fuck out of him. That was pretty good stuff. We're going to get that match on Super Powerrr in 2 weeks. And then we get recaps of Camille, Allison Kay, Thunder Rosa. Okay, hey, maybe do a 3-way. Maybe do a 3-way at the pay-per-view, but it's probably going to be Camille versus Thunder Rosa. Though you could throw somebody else in there to stick the pin, so Thunder Rosa doesn't lose the title yet, and Camille doesn't have to take the pin. We'll see what happens. Then we get the Dawsons versus Caleb Conley and C.W. Anderson. Last chance match. These contracts are up. The Dawsons contracts are up. Caleb Conley's contract is up. C.W. Anderson wants a contract since he's in the best shape of his career. Has dropped a lot of pounds. Commentary mentions this. And it wasn't bad. The losing team would basically be done in the NWA. And the Dawsons are focused. They attack. Caleb Conley does hit a few good moves at one point, but it's really just the big men dominating this. To get a few near falls. Miscommunication leads to one of the Dawsons going over the ropes. And we get Spinebuster. And we get the big old springboard moonsault from Conley. And we get the pin, 1, 2, 3, and the Dawsons are done in the NWA, perhaps, or this is just a way for maybe them to work their way back up, and they have to, like, you know, come back after, they maybe come back after the Crockett Cup and try to get a chance, or they get in the Crockett Cup tournament and then they lose in the first round, they truly are done. I don't know what the deal is, but hey, it is what it is, and it was fine. We then get Sean Mooney with an NWA Powerrr update, and here's basically the schedule. I had to write this stuff down. So March 10th, Circle Squared, The Circle Squared, episode 2 and 3. I'm probably not going to review those only because the first episode was fine, but there really wasn't enough material for me to review it, in my personal opinion, though I did enjoy it. Maybe I'll review episode 2 and 3. I'm not sure. It just totally depends on what I'm doing that week. March 17th, Super Powerrr. I will review that because that's Tim Storm versus Jax Dane. We get Aaron Stevens, the question mark, versus the Rock and Roll Express. We get Who Will Face Thunder Rosa at the pay-per-view, Camille in action. And then we get Marty Scurll and Brody King versus Nick Aldis and Thomas Latimer. So cool. All right, that's going to be some good stuff. And then shows like Power Surge, Crockett Cup Selection Show, and the 10 Pounds of Gold. All right, cool. If any of those shows after Super Powerrr are worth reviewing, I will absolutely review them. Otherwise, the next show that I review after Super Powerrr for the NWA will be the Crockett Cup pay-per-view. I might do predictions. We will see. But I'm definitely excited to see what's going to be happening on that pay-per-view. Now, so again, if you don't see anything for Circle Squared next week, don't be too shocked. Not that it isn't worth watching, and I encourage you guys to watch it, but I also work late on Tuesdays most of the time, so I can't watch until later. So we get a May Valentine Saul Renaro interview, and I tend to screw that up, and they're talking about, you know, working with May's, you know, line of like lingerie at one point. Okay, working on her vlog and her line of lingerie. They're BFFs. Okay. Sal seems all head in the clouds. He's happy to help May, and May, you know, is presenting herself as she does, and just like, you know, she's supposed to be, apparently, according to what somebody told me, and it actually does make a whole lot of sense, kind of like mocking how WWE presented the women for so many years, and that does make sense. And she's playing her role just fine. Actually, her and Sal do have some pretty good chemistry. And then suddenly, we're going to get a live vlog, but no, Royce Isaacs comes and interrupts and threatens to break Sal's good arm, and May just keeps yelling at him until he stops. Says, no, he's my best friend. Stop that. What are you doing? And then we get Pope and the Bouncers. It's a promo to hype for the main event, which is James Storm versus Eli Drake versus the Bouncers for the NWA tag titles. And we get Eddie Kingston in the corner of the champs, and we get the Pope in the corner of the Bouncers. I do not like the Bouncers. I understand having big men as a team, but I just don't really care for them. It's impressive they can move that weight around. It really is, but I just don't believe them as being anything good. I don't get the appeal. I don't. If you guys like him, that's great. I don't. This match is okay. Eli Drake pumps up the crowd. Bouncers, they aren't very good. They did dominate for a little bit, and then eventually James Storm dives outside. We get a sunset flip onto Maloney, I believe is what his name is, and then we get a double slam from the champs. They slam him, the bigger one. Last call and elbow drop, pins the Bruiser 1, 2, 3. Kingston wants the Pope, and Pope is like, yeah, no, and he runs off. So that's it. Now, despite me knocking the main event, I like Storm and Drake as tag champs. I just don't really care for the Bouncers. It served its purpose, and it built the story fine. I'm still gonna give the show a B-. It was a solid show. I almost went C+, and I thought, no, they did some good stuff with it. So we'll see what happens with all the programming that I mentioned and that Sean Mooney mentioned and that I've recapped. So if you don't see a review next week, you will see a review of Super Powerrr. I'm very excited for that, and then we'll see for the rest of that until the Crockett Cup, and I'm absolutely excited for that. So you agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.